Well, hello and welcome back to the channel. Firstly, thank you so much to all my subscribers. It's been over 100 subscribers now. I really do mean it when I say thank you, every single one of you individually. Thank you for your support. It means so much to us. So today we'll be in our tent, avoiding the rain and cracking on with this wonderful Mayland 15. So if you remember in the last episode, we filled in all the cracks on the other side, cleaned it all up, restored it, and then gave it a nice coat of enamel paint, just to strip around the edge there where the damage used to be, and it's looking great. Over the last couple of days, I've done this side as well. This side didn't come out quite as good as the other side, but it's more than acceptable, and I'm going to push on. As I say, I want to get this boat out on the water very soon. So today I'm going to get cracking on with this strip along here. It wasn't very nice, but it is a working part. I've sanded it down. I'm going to paint it up today, and then we're going to be getting the windows in. So stick around and let's get on. Well, that's one side done. I've only done the top there. Need to do obviously down here as well to stop the paint going over the hull. It's like wrapping a giant Christmas present basically. It fights back quite a bit, and this tape's, it's not actually that good. It's a bit annoying. Doesn't bend very well, doesn't stick very well, but there's not a lot I can do about it. It was quite expensive, so I guess I'll just crack on as I am. So I'm going to get on and I'll do the other side. So I'll bring you back in a moment. Okay, sailors, welcome back. I hope you can hear me above all the wind and the rain. I really picked probably the worst day today to do any kind of painting and masking up and that. The wind's been lifting the tent and moving it around, so it's quite an experience. But anyway, I've masked it up as best as I can. The wind's whipping through here actually, and it's moving the masking around and all that. But I'll just flip you around and show you where I've got to. So as you can see, gale force wind going away. I've masked it up top and bottom. This tape is awful. It starts undoing itself, you know. It's supposed to be a quality product. I won't use it again. And the same with the masking film is absolutely terrible, really, to be honest with you, because it's quite big, but it doesn't cut very well. I've been using a little razor on it, and it just doesn't cut through. I've tried different ones, and it actually just seems to sort of tear like this, really. But, you know, I've got to work with what I've got. So anyway, I've degreased all the trim along here. As you can see, because the tent's been moving, the boat is now, feels like the boat's actually moved a few feet, but it isn't, it's the tent. So the temperature's not too bad in here. The humidity's probably okay. If I don't get on and do it now, I don't think I'm going to get another chance for a while. So I'm going to get on, get this blue enamel paint laid down in a couple of coats, and then obviously I need to got to pull this off straight away, otherwise, you know, it leaves, it will tear the paint off. So I'll get on and do that, and fingers crossed it's going to go the way I want it. that's the blue trim done. How did it go? Fucking awful, basically. Couldn't have gone worse. The wind's whipped up, it's pushed the tent onto the paintwork, the wet paint. It's run, it's reacted with a degreaser. It could not have gone worse, to be honest with you. I haven't really got any choice. I mean, I'm not going to mask it all up again and go through it and just have this hassle. It just isn't worth it. The colour's absolutely fantastic, and I think against the boat it's going to look really nice. The only thing I can really do is when it's all set after a couple of days is give it a bit of a sand down, I think, and I might be able to tidy it up. And I know at the end of the day it's going to get bashed about, and I'm probably going to put a rubber trim on there anyway. So not really going to see it. But, you know, it's one of those things. Spend all the time masking it up and prepping it, and you just want it to go right. But it doesn't always go right. So what I'll do is I'll get this mask off. Got to do it whilst the paint's, you know, still wet. And, well, just have to see where we're at with that. Never know. I might be happy with it. I probably won't. So I get on and get this masking off. Alright then, well, I take back what I said a little bit. It's once you get the masking that off, it's not actually that bad. Certainly suits the boat. And yeah, I would like to have been perfect, but it just isn't. There's a few little bits like this bit I missed, but that's easy enough to clean off the sand down, so I'm not bothered by that. Yeah, this side, as you can see, it bled a little bit. I don't know why. Nose isn't too bad, but yeah, I think when this weather's better and I can stand back a bit more and get a better idea. Let's have a look around here of what this boat looks like, you know. From a distance, it's absolutely fine. Close up, not so sure. Well, I'm going to let this dry now and then I'll be right back. So it's been a couple of hours now. The wind is still tearing away at this tent, but it's given a bit of time for the paint to dry. It's actually dried quite quickly, and as it's done so, it's sort of pulled quite tight, so it's actually beginning to look quite nice now. So all my worries and all that really are starting to fade away. So anyway, that's almost set, and so what I really want to get on with now is obviously these windows at long last. So let's just pop over and have a quick look at those. Okay, so originally when the boat was built, it would have had an aluminium frame around each window with glass and rivets to hold it all in. But at some point since the 1980s, I guess the aluminium probably corroded, and so as a result, they all got ripped out. Now, the previous owner just basically stuck on sheets of perspex, as you probably saw in the first episode when we got the boat. It looked absolutely atrocious. So I'd like to put aluminium back in with the rivets and the glass, but I don't think it's possible because it's bespoke. It's got to be designed, the frames, just for this boat. That's going to be very, very expensive, and I don't think it's cost effective. So I'm going to basically sort of get somewhere in between those, and my solution is simply to use rubber seals around the sides and some really thick, heavy-duty perspex for the windows. Now this rubber, I don't know if you can see, but it's basically, it has two channels. And so the thin channel basically sticks over the edge like that, and then the glass goes in the other groove, and then I have a key strip which goes in there, which pressurizes and pushes the two together. So first thing I need to do is to get the perspex and measure it up. It needs to fit in here just slightly small so that it takes into account the rubber between the actual boat and the perspex window itself. So I'm going to get on, get the perspex and measure it up and get cutting away. So there's the perspex there. It's actually 2 sheets, about 4mm thick. They're very heavy. They're quite hard to lift these actually. So I'm going to cut them down into slightly smaller strips so I can work with it a bit better. So that's the first window cut. A little bit more difficult than I thought it was going to be. Very slow and time consuming, and the plastic stinks when it's being cut. It gets all hot and smelly. Anyway, I've done it. I've no idea obviously if it fits or not until I put the rubber in. So, well, fingers crossed. Hopefully it's going to work. So let's get the rubber in around there and then work out how you're going to squeeze this into place. But the rubber is in. I've never done this before, so it's all new to me. So I'm just trying to work it out as I go along. Obviously, the rubber needs to be close against the actual window frame itself, as tight as possible. So I'm making sure in the corners that that's the case. But the rubber does tend to twist and buckle a bit around here. And I've also cut it so it's just slightly too long. And then once I'm happy that it's all in place, I'll trim it back a bit shorter, and then it's time to get the perspex in, and that should be fun. Weather is absolutely crazy. This is what I'm dealing with today. It's nuts. I mean, I'm keeping dry, but God, the noise, it's mad. This is madness. We're not even into winter yet. Oh. Well, there's no way that window is going to fit in there. It's far too big. I didn't want to cut it down too much because I can't make it any bigger. So all I'm going to have to do is get it back on the jig, shave a little bit off all the way around and try again. Well, there we are. I've shaved off a couple of millimetre all the way around. So might look the same to you, but it is a little bit smaller. Now, I'm not confident that this is going to fit, but might as well give it a go anyway. That's as far as I've got. Window does feel like it's slightly too small. The rubber does cover everything, but it's a little bit shy on the top here. I'm going to put in the locking rubber right the way around. I think that'll expand it out, and I think we might be right on this window, but it's a learning process and it's something to keep in mind for the other 4 windows. So I'm going to carry on with this and let's see whether this helps. Well, there's no way that's going in there. Apparently got to spend 20-30 quid, so you know, nearly $50 basically on a tool to go in there that should have actually been in the kit as far as I'm concerned. So at the moment I'll have to find some other way. I could use some washing up liquid or something like that, but I don't want all that mess all over the new paintwork. So at the moment I'm going to call it a day. So it's been about 3 weeks now since I got started on these windows, and I can say it's single-handedly been the worst DIY job I've ever had to do on anything. Cars, lawnmowers, outboards, boats. These window rubbers are an absolute nightmare to do, absolute nightmare. But I've done it. I've done the 5 windows. The front window, which I thought was probably going to be the worst, actually turned out to be the easiest. But I think you'll agree that it looks a million times better than it did before. And as yet, they don't leak either, which is obviously great. So this project really is coming to an end now. All I've got left to do is to put the hooks back on for the buoys and the fenders. The interior, I've just got to put the seat cushions back in with a bit of Velcro just to keep them in place. The next big thing obviously is the outboard on the back there. We've got the Suzuki DT9.9. Now I've already put it back on there and I've connected up all the cables and that, ready to do another episode to see whether we can get it started. So let's just pop around the back here and just have a look and see what I've done. So I've got the DT9.9, the Suzuki 2-cylinder outboard, fitted onto the transom here. It's quite a heavy lump. Took 2 of us to lift it and put it into place. Now initially all the little connectors here were all bent up, and I think they were probably actually in the wrong place because nothing seemed to really work. So I've taken all that apart, cleaned it up, manipulated a little bit, put it on, and now everything runs really smooth. I can get forward, neutral and reverse, and the throttle works properly as well. So it's an electric start, so I'm going to have to get the battery fitted on there, and hopefully it should start. But that's going to be in the next episode. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. We finally finished off the Mayland, and if you've enjoyed it, please do consider subscribing, and I'll see you on the next episode.